Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, check it out, man. I got a brand new season 3 podcast, the Hood Motivator podcast, the Motivator Circle dropping ASAP soon. Hey, I need you guys to get online and log on and find me and be a part of my community. Be a part, tap in. We're going global with this one right here. I can't wait to see you guys here 2026. I can't wait to see you guys and let you know what I've been doing with my brand. Hey, don't forget to log in. The Hood Motivator out. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hood Motivator Podcast, the Motivators Table. And we live now on YouTube and LinkedIn. And we trying season three and trying season 4 virtually through Viva Riverside. Thank you to Los Angeles Tribune for sponsoring me on the podcast. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm born and raised in Long Beach, California. By right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But thank you to Jason Liceo, Jumpman J, for coming on to my podcast. Man, I appreciate you. Man, let's tell the world who you are and what you're doing right now.
Hey, man. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you, JR. Calvin raves about you, man. So I just want to thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate you. Simple, man. I'm, Jay Lacayo from New York, man. I'm a son of 2 immigrants. I was born in the Bronx, lived there until I was about 13. Then I moved to Yonkers, which is in Westchester County. And, you know, um, currently now a police officer. I've been a police officer for 20 years, man. I got hired July 11th of 2005, and I just hit my 20-year mark. So just kind of winding down. I'm a detective with the city of White Plains right now, attached to the mental health outreach team, which is a part of our strategic initiatives. So we go out and we communicate with unhoused, mentally ill, and people who have substance abuse issues.
Wow, I love that. I did not know that you were a detective, and I did not know that you were specialized into doing mental health. First of all, thank you for doing 20 years in law enforcement. I joined the
Appreciate you.
military when I was in 2002. So
Okay.
I know how that, the years pass. I'm 44 right now. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And thank you for just being in the gap. You out there, you know what I'm saying? So you know
Yeah.
exactly what we're facing. And what's crazy is I just spoke at Cal's prison on Friday. And, I tell a lot of people all the time, I said, until you um, get in these people's information, you don't know what they're dealing with, right? And growing up in these poverty areas in the hood and stuff like that, you don't understand that. You don't understand. You just know that you think that this is the outcome, but it's not the outcome. You are right there in the middle of the drama, all the craziness, being a detective, being a police officer, seeing the front line, seeing from the civilian standpoint, and you seeing from the law enforcement. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. It's been a difficult time. I think since COVID, I think a lot of things have surfaced that weren't really at the forefront before. I think mental health started to deteriorate at that point. 2020 hit us. People were confined to being in homes and they weren't able to see their family. And those that were able to be with their family, they started to notice certain things. And I think like relationships that were once healthy. Now, if you're sitting in the house with somebody all day, you start to see these relationships start to deteriorate. So we saw a spike in mental health calls. And then, you know, substance abuse was big during that time. People were jumping in the bottle and, turning to drugs to kind of numb their pain because they were isolated from people. So, I have the privilege of joining this unit, man, and I just been out there boots on the ground, just trying to affect and trying to affect and make good change.
I love that. I love that you're boots on the ground. I love that you were raised in New York, so you didn't leave. You stayed right there,
Yeah, stay
and
right
people
here,
probably
man.
gravitate to you because I love it. I love it. And you're helping your community out. And that's what we all about is helping our community. I've been knowing you for a few years online and seeing how you gravitate and how you know what I'm saying, how you get online and you inspire and you do what you have to do. And I admire that. And like I told Cal, I said, I don't put nobody on my platform if I don't admire because I need to draw something from you so we can, you know what I'm saying, make sure that I understand that this is a positive platform. This is where we need to learn and understand each other and you out there doing the work. Can you tell me as a little boy, were you always into law enforcement?
So I come from a law enforcement background. You know, my father was in the military and then got into law enforcement. My uncle was in law enforcement. Pretty much majority of my family is either military or law enforcement, so it was a rite of passage. So, you know, as soon as I got of age, I started taking tests. I think my biggest regret is just not going to the military right after high school. I think I wasted a lot of time trying to figure out what it was that I actually wanted to do. And so, you know, me just being out in the world, taking chances, you know, risking my freedom, trying to figure out who I was as a young man. Thankfully, I didn't get in any kind of real trouble, so I was able to become a police officer at a young age. But it was always in reach. It was always something that I thought I wanted to do. I guess when you get into your teens and you start to interact with different social groups and you start to have a different outlook on law enforcement. But yeah, deep down inside, I either wanted to be in the military or law enforcement.
I like that. A lot of very few of us want to serve, and you definitely a servant with the law enforcement. And I know during COVID that you experienced some rough times because this where the 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 country, the rhetoric had changed, and it
Mm.
seemed like it wasn't all good. Just it was just all good a week ago. Now you guys don't want me around. How did you deal with that as you and your mental health and your family and everything that you were raised to stand on? How did you deal with that?
I just took it in stride. I knew the pendulum was going to swing back at some point. We were heroes in the beginning, and then I think the George Floyd situation happened, and that kind of deteriorated whatever good standing we had with the public. So, we've been working diligently to try to get that trust back. But I mean, it's deep rooted, man. This goes back to long before I was a police officer. So, I just try to go out there and do the best that I can. But I never got discouraged. I always knew that, some people are gonna love us and some people aren't gonna like us. And that just comes with the job.
Definitely. I love that you explained that comes with the job, and it's very difficult for us to be in a community where we were raised and still be the law enforcement. And I always wondered how that would feel because I was military, and I was going back. I was going to be LAPD. I got hit up to be DEA, Miami, all these things. And growing up in California, there's a war between each other, and then it's a war with the law enforcement and the people in the hood. And they don't care who it is. It's just somebody in uniform that they can hate, not knowing that I can come back. I'm your cousin. I'm your uncle, and your little homie kill me because I wear the uniform because I'm a police officer. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got to understand the rules, and I was never the one to agree with that because I knew first line how it felt to fight the war on terrorism and how to understand it at one of the biggest levels, fighting for the United States Army. Now being a cop in my neighborhood and people not even understanding, but you're making different assumptions. And I have a lot of Leo friends. I have lot of law enforcement friends, and I always ask them that question, like, even being a black man, how does it feel to be, law enforcement, and how does your people treat you in the community?
They don't even see color, man. They see the uniform first. They always
Right.
say, you're not black, you're blue. They'll say that right out the gate. So I think the minute they see us in uniform, depending on the setting, I'm pretty community based, so I go out there and they know my face, they know I'm out there to help. But when I was, I go to work like this, plain clothes. When I was in uniform, it was a little different. Now, they put a spin on policing. It's really community driven. So they want more community interaction and good interaction nonetheless. So, we're just out there trying to do some youth programs. And, I do this thing called My Brother's Keeper. That's a nationwide thing. So just giving back to the community that raised me, saying that, we all come from the same neighborhoods, we're cut from the same cloth. And, if you want to make a difference, you got to be the change that you want to see. So when they see familiar faces like you and I, they be like, oh, they from the same hood. So maybe I could do it. And that's how you change the narrative.
I love that, and that's all I'm about is changing the narrative. We are trained to see like what we think, not knowing that on the other side, there's other options and other ways of how to think. And I like the way that you know what I'm saying, you navigate through that and who you are. And now you're a detective, So now you have more pull, more leverage to make people see that this is just positive. This is who I am. God called you to be a police officer, law enforcement. It's timing. You wasn't gonna go in the military. You needed to be a police officer. You needed your boots on the ground in your community to touch and be there for your people. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So right now, like what's going on in the climate of the world and who you are, how do you stay enforced and prayed up? Like what do you do? What is your routines? How do you know what I'm saying, navigate that as far as your mental health? Because you can't go help nobody if you don't help yourself. So how do we do that with Jason?
Hey man, that's a great question. I try to stay rooted in my routine. I try, I wake up, I do the same thing every single day. A little prayer, meditation, and movement. I got a journal that I write in. I try to write in every single day. I use my Bible app, so I get a scripture, and I'll write down, what the scripture is about and what it means to me. And then I get like a quote of the day, so I'll write that in my journal. And then I have a gratitude journal where I just go over some of the things that I'm grateful for. Simple things like just waking up, my family, food, shelter, water. Things that I don't have to really worry about. I know that they're in place. And every day, that I go out and I come back home, I thank God for allowing me to return home with sound mind, body, and spirit. So just staying prayed up and making sure that I pour into myself. And because like you said, if I can't show up for myself, how can I show up for others? So just making sure I stay rooted in that routine and I get those things done. That's how I balance my mental health and overall wellness.
I love that. And I always hit on that, especially on my podcast. That's what I'm about. This is a motivator's table. I can't let you leave without motivating you and pouring into you. You pour into so many people, not even at work, online. I see that, a lot of people are taking this motivational speaking and public speaking and life coaching, and it's a trend and it sounds really good and it looks good on a lot of people. But if it's not your gift, get out the way. You know what I'm saying? Make room for the people that are here to inspire and touch and motivate and live like you live accordingly. Like you see what you just said? You wake up, you have a routine, you meditate, you pray, you intentional, you affirm. That's exactly what I do. I got on my mirror, I got all my affirmations. I'm the number one motivational speaker in the world. I'm grateful, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy. I got my motivational creed that I speak to all the kids, everybody I come in contact with. I get at to this is who I am. This is my birthright. It took me a while though to find it. It took me a while, but when I found it, it became easier to wake up and continue to do what I'm doing. And now that I'm virtually podcasting, and now I'm able to reach the amazing people like yourself that are super busy. I want to thank you for just coming on my podcast this late because right now it's about 8:30, 9, almost 9 o'clock, and you just probably getting off work. You're tired, you got your family, but you took the time to get on my website and my podcast and give me all the information and make sure that my audience and my chat knows that hey, Jason is here for them. Can you just tell me about like how do you do that? Like, right, because you inspire online too. I see you working out. I see that you're talking. I see that you're on panels, all that stuff. Let's talk about that. And mental health, let's talk about that.
Yeah, man. I think it was a calling. I feel like this is a gift that God gave me, and I'm just living, through my purpose. It's not easy to wake up every day and have like a positive outlook, especially with everything that's going on right now. You know, I'm just I'm just using the gifts that God gave me, and that's just first and foremost. Because just like you said it took you a while to figure out what your gift was, and I always knew that I always was good with connecting with people and speaking. That was something that came natural to me, and the universe just created a way for me to get into position to do that, make connections, make a little bit of a living off of it. And that's what I really want to do in retirement, man. So how I got on these panels and things like that is just being me, being the person that I am, and trying to lead by example, and not put up a facade or a front, giving these people what I go through, and what I've dealt with, having some of the mental health struggles that I've had, and to like work through it. People see me as a living testament. They, if this kid could get through it, then maybe I can. So, you know, just living through my purpose.
Love that, man. And you are living through your purpose. You are who you say you are. You're not trying to be nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to tell you, man. You inspire all of us, you know what I'm saying? Because the work that you're putting in, not only as a detective or a police officer, but also, like I said, going around to these panels, inspiring and motivating and letting people know, hey, this is what I do. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I like to contribute myself. I'm all over the world speaking now. And it took off at 2022, I went bankrupt. I did my first speech. Well, I was raised in the church speaking, and my father's a minister, and my grandfather are both are ministers. But God was like, "You done playing? Hey, it's time to go this way." So in 2022, June, I spoke professionally, and then I spoke for free for 3.5 years. And all of a sudden, I woke up in 2025, the beginning of January, and I'm top 50 motivational speakers in the world. And now I get paid to do what I love to do and travel the
That's what's
world.
up.
And everybody asks me, like, what's your niche? I don't have a niche. Like, I'm not just talking to the veterans. Like, I never met no one like me that, what I'm saying, that wears a Long Beach hat, wears Jordans, that's a doctor in business, got his master's in business, served in the military, talks about failure, is a veteran. Even in this month, I'm so diverse. Like, I speak at a black and white ball gala, and then I speak at the University of South Florida for collegiate, and then I get ready to do my TED talk soon. So God is good, you know what I'm saying? And God said your gift will make room for you, and it's making room. So tell me about like how you was able to, you know what I'm saying, turn that tide and speak and be there. How did that start?
Honestly, I just kind of fell into it, to be quite honest. You know, a couple of people that I knew were like, "Hey, man, would you come by and speak here and speak there?" And I'm just like, "You sure you want me?" And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I just, I feel like I was called to do it, right? They asked me to do it. I wasn't looking to do it. I just kind of fell into place. And, they say that your calling will find you. So I just was listening to the universe and got in a place like that, and I'm trying to get to your level. Like when I hear you say that, you got to a point where you failed and you came back and now you're doing what you love to do, right? And you're making a living doing it and you're giving back to your community. I mean, to me, that's a life goal right there. What you're doing, I think giving back to your community. And I think you're a living, breathing example of what like people from where we from should aspire to be. I feel like there's not a cookie cutter look to being a businessman, or whatever, right? Like we look like the average Joe that's out there, and I think that is what's attainable, right? Because you don't see too many people who look like us, who wear J's, wear fitted caps, and that are in position like you are. So I think there's a little brown boy in the hood somewhere, like yo, like that guy looked like me. He's successful, he failed and he showed that he has flaws, and he was able to, pick himself up by the bootstraps and make his way back to the top, man. So I got to commend you for that, man, because I think that's super inspirational, man. So thank you for what you do, for real, for real.
Nah, thank you. It wasn't easy, I was running away from my gift. I was like Jonah in the well. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want this responsibility. I didn't even want to wear the shoes like my father and my grandfather, but God was like, I'm not telling you to wear their shoes. Wear your own shoes. And I picked up, you know what I'm saying? I was authentically myself, just like on this hoodie, just like on my mic. I showed up and I said, you know what? I'm gonna create a brand called the Hood Motivator, and I'm not going to be judged by that title because I'm more than just that title. But I wanted to bring people in and understand that, hey, when you look at or you look up the Hood Motivator, it's not going to just be hood stuff. It's going to be somebody who know how to hold a conversation, who's very profound at his words, who's very intellectual, who can hold a conversation, who can navigate through trials and tribulations, talk about it as a man and show you his true warriorness. You know what I'm saying? A true warrior know how to de-escalate. You know what I'm saying? Emotional
Absolutely.
intelligence, know how to talk you off of that situation before going hands on, because that's what the military taught me. That's what my father taught me. I'm very calm at what I do, and at the end of the day, if somebody gonna do it, they're not gonna yell at you. We're gonna talk about it. You figure, you know what I'm saying? So we know that already as you working in the law enforcement and knowing your rules of engagement, and also in the motivational world, in life coaching world, we have rules of engagement. You know what I'm saying? And I talk about that all the time. How do you engage with your clients? Said, are you the message that you bring? And I will say that Jumpman J, Mr. Jason Laseo, is the message that he brings. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they don't understand that these kids hear what you're talking about, but they're going to Google you and see if you live in your life. And if you're not, they're going to challenge you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to become a meme. and I don't think become a meme. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know?
Absolutely right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So what's up? What's up in the future for Mr. Jason? What's going on with you?
Ooh, right now, I just got brought in as a business partner to start this men's club. And basically it's gonna be like a collaborative workspace where you can go and, work out, get some office work done. They're gonna have coffee as well as food prep, and contrast therapy. So but it's for men only. So it's like a niche fitness club, but it's a wellness club. I would say wellness because we do more than just fitness. There's going to be yoga, breath work. You're going to be able to work out. You're going to be able to get that contrast therapy. And then, when you're in there, you're focusing on you while you're there. And then when you go home, you can be a better, person to your family or to your significant other, whatever have you. So that's what's next for me.
Okay. I love that. And when is that going to open this year or next year?
We're shooting for this year. We're still in the process of, get everything squared away as far as the build out. We raised some funds and we hit the number that we're supposed to hit. So, the wheels are in motion. It's just right now just trying to execute, making sure that the build out is going to go properly. Because sometimes you run into little speed bumps here and there. So right now we're just doing an overview of the property, making sure we have a certificate of occupancy. All the paperwork is in order, and then hopefully the build out will start by like May. So that's the name of the game, man.
I love that, man. I love the fact that that's what you're doing. And like I said, you're in your community, and that's what the community needs. They need that, especially for our men. We don't talk about it enough. We don't embrace each other enough. And I tell people all the time, I said the biggest killer of men is not women. It's not other situations. It's each other. We tear each other down.
Hmm.
We don't want nobody else to be better than who we say we are. Right? We'll build you up to that point to where I helped you, I mentored you, but I'm not going to mentor you to try to get past me. And I think that's the rhetoric. That's the difference between old YN and old and Unc and all that is because our failures to communicate at that level. We
Yep.
don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We need to come down, get off our high horse. And I do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when I'm talking to my son, he's 19, he's smart, and I have to listen. I've done a lot of my life, but he has an ear, and you have a voice, and you have space, and I need to hear you. But if you do something wrong, I'm going to chastise you. I'm gonna let you know that. I'm gonna let you know the repercussions. A lot of this generation of YNs, they don't have nobody they can look up to. Nobody went down and grabbed to them. That's why they do what they do, and they don't think they're governed by anything. That's why they know that it's no repercussion coming because ain't no old head or no uncle or no cousin or no older like, hey, what you doing? What you got going on? I'm the person that if I know you and you're younger than me and you're doing something that could potentially get your family in danger or yourself, I'm going to tell you. I don't think that's a great idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what we have to be. I don't care if it looks lame or weird or not. I'd rather be weird. I'd rather be lame and weird to be alive than try to be tough and dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts, man. I think you definitely hit the nail right on the head. I think this younger generation don't really have nobody that they can look up to or get sound advice from. So that's why I think we're in the state that we're in right now. You know what I mean? Or you
Right.
got some old head out there telling them the wrong thing. So,
To
and
continue.
then
Yeah, to continue doing
yeah.
some negative stuff. Yeah. Or
So
that old head that um, didn't live the life he needed to live. So now he's trying to compete with these YNs or these young boys out here, these young men. And at the end of the day, like they're young for a reason. Like, yeah, if you still got your swag, keep it. But going out there to help mentor them. Like my son, he wanted to know what the club was like. I took him to the club. I told him the
yeah,
do's and don'ts. I told him why I leave at midnight because the devil shows up after these certain times. I showed him that hey, it's okay to do this, that, and the third. Make sure you're responsible and get home to fight to live another day. I told him that hey, also some law enforcement around 1 o'clock, 1:30. If that club is out at 2, you want to leave early because they setting a perimeter and they know who's out there drinking and driving. So you want to get out of the scene before you know what I'm saying? So I'm teaching him that so he won't have to learn from another man or somebody else that think they know it and all of a sudden you hit your head and now you learn from your lessons. And I would say when I was in combat, a lot of us we learned our lesson after we lost a life. And I don't want to lose nobody around me to learn my lesson no more. So that's why I'm in front of this mic. That's why I'm on these podcasts. That's why I'm traveling the world speaking, because I'm letting people know it's okay to make a mistake. But when you make it, make sure you're going to teach somebody else that don't need to make that mistake. Do you understand that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you need somebody that's going to give you those gems. I feel like, I had a guy like that that was teaching me the do's and don'ts. My father was present, obviously, but it's always good to get another male figure in your life to kind of give you those gems. I had a high school teacher that took a liking to me. He gave me a book by Napoleon Hill, To Think and Grow Rich in America. And he was the first guy to really show me how to make like long-term and short-term goals. He gave me a place where I could go and like work out. So he had a dojo. He would let me go and get my frustrations out in the dojo instead of going into the street, going to a neighborhood, fighting some dude and, maybe somebody using a knife or a gun. He was like, hey, you got any kind of frustrations, take them out in here. This is a controlled setting. We can control the tempo of the fight. If you feeling angst and you want to get some aggression out, come to the dojo, because at least here, when it's done, it's done. You don't got to look over your shoulder. So, it's needed to have that older male presence to give you those gems and steer you in the right direction.
It's very much needed. And if you say it's
Absolutely.
not, you're not living and you're learning. I know a lot of the people who I went to go speak Friday at Calvin Reynoso's correctional facility. And a lot of them guys, emotional intelligence, they didn't understand what that was until I explained it to them that one mistake can cost you 20 years behind the ball. And the difference between me walking in there and walking out and them standing there because of decisions that I made. And you have options. And you got to understand that you have options. Like, I know it sucks growing up in them certain situations. It sucked growing up for me, being without my mother, seeing a lot of things. But I always wanted and I dared to be different. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be, oh, he went to go off to go play football or sports or do this. Even after the military, I always wanted to be different. Always wanted to be able to be an example for my community and say, hey, you know what? Joel's son, JR, he got a doctorate in business. Like, so now my kids, you don't have to go get a doctorate, but you don't have no excuses. I went through it all for you. So now you got a clean road to say, you know what, I could do whatever I need to do because I saw that it was possible with my father. So I'm breaking my family curses, my
Hmm.
generational hit all them things that, hey, my mother died of AIDS. I'm her son. I'm about to become a doctor in December. So you know how powerful that is? My mother was died of AIDS. She was on Skid Row. So she birthed this. Yes, she lost her life, but I'm a product of her. You know what I'm saying? And I know for me, I carry that with me. And I know let's hear about your family traditions and the things that your father did and your mother. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so my dad was in the military. He came here. He's an immigrant from Honduras, so he came here in his early teens. I think he was about 13. My mom shortly thereafter showed up. She was about 15 or 16, and they just always preached hard work, man. They did the most with with what they with what they had. They're just saying like they can only teach you what they know, right? So they gave me whatever little tidbits and gems that they had, and they instilled hard work, discipline, dedication in me at a very young age. So, you know, I tried to walk in their footsteps, especially like my dad, because my dad was like, I always saw him in like a uniform. So I always knew at some point or another I was going to see myself in a uniform, be it the military or law enforcement. He was the one that really pushed civil service on me. He was like, hey, man, you can work your 20 years. And then if you want to chase something else thereafter, you can. And so, he was big on fitness. I think that's why it's uh such a major thing in my life because I was born into it. He would take me to the park and run, or he would take me to go ride bikes. My uncle Raul was like always in the gym, so I was in the gym at like 5, 6 years old, trying to lift weights, look like these guys. And my mom is the one who really taught me about spirituality and God. I get most of my spiritual side from my mom and like my hard work and make no excuses for my father because he was big on that. He goes, being a person of color in this country ain't gonna be easy for you, and you got to be above average. You can't sell yourself short. So, I don't want to hear that you're trying. You either got to do it or you don't do it. So just make sure you do your best, because at least if you fall short, you'll land somewhere in the middle. So if you shoot up here, you fall short, you land somewhere over there. So that lives with me
Exactly.
to this day.
I love that, man. And I love the fact that you had some good parents in your life and your mother and your father guiding you and being that guided light. You know what I'm saying? You were one of a kind. You know what I'm saying? And now look at what you're doing now. I know they're so proud of you. You have siblings?
Yeah, yeah, I got an older brother. Yeah, he's in law
Okay.
enforcement as well.
Look at that. So I'm glad. I know they're so happy, and I'm happy for you. And this is my platform to say that I'm proud of you and thank you for taking that torch and just running with it, showing these young brown and black boys that hey, you can be this and you can do this and you can succeed in this and be possible. You know what I'm saying? You coming up on like 20 years, 20
Yeah,
years in the
just
law
completed
enforcement.
20. Yeah.
Man, you know what? Let's get back to the law enforcement. Let's talk about um just give me a rough draft from year one to now on how the law enforcement has been to you.
It's been great, man. It's had its ups, it's had its downs. I started as like a foot patrol guy. So I was out there on foot post. I did that for about a year and then got into like a sector car. So I was working patrol. So I was doing that for about a year. Then I transferred police departments. And so I went from a big major department, NYPD, to a smaller city. And so was on patrol for a very short period of time. I was there for like a year. And then I got into a proactive unit where we did quality of life arrests and did proactive policing. And then I was assigned to the emergency service unit, which is what you guys would consider SWAT. So we, special weapons and tactics, and we did some medical stuff and heavy rescue. So I did that for 10 years. And then opportunity presented itself. I can work with this mental health unit. And, I think that was just divine intervention. It came at the right time. And, I got a steady schedule now. I work Tuesday through Friday. I work in the office. I read emails. I sleep and eat like a normal human being these days. I don't have to work night shifts anymore. And most importantly, I get to give back to my community. So, the journey, like I said, I lost some friends along the way. You know, um, some of them were violent. Some of them was just from you know, poor health decisions. This job, when you work these odd hours, you don't make the best nutritional choices. You don't sleep the best, and sometimes you work so much you can't exercise. A lot of us will work overtime and instead of moving our body or getting the rest that we need. So, lost some friends, but I made some phenomenal friends, lifelong friends. I met people that I couldn't even imagine meeting if I wasn't in this line of work. It's provided a great life for myself and my family. So blessed.
Love that, man. And you work too in the Big Apple. You know what I'm saying? So you see, like for me, when I hear the Big Apple in New York, and because I'm from Los Angeles and Long Beach and California, you know what I'm saying? I think about the Ninja Turtles, first of all. You know what I'm saying? And the store system. And um, that's what my first thought of New York was either how the Ninja Turtles portrayed it or um, how Spider-Man did. And
Yeah,
it's so big out there. Your train system, your barrels, and it's very strategic how y'all do things. And what is it, 5 barrels?
yeah, 5 boroughs. Yep.
5 barrels and stuff like that. So actually I'm supposed to be going to Manhattan soon. I remember when I was little, my mom took us to Rhode Island. So, that's all I
Okay.
know about New York like that. I love Wu-Tang, I love DMX. I love um I love the
I
East
actually
Coast, you
knew
know what I'm saying?
DMX, so
You-
that's just
Look at that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's one of my favorite artists, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I love that. So, but I was able to understand New York like that, but see that it's also a dangerous city too. Also working, the history. You know the history of New York and uh the development and before was the Big Apple and all the mobs and everything that came there and strategically and stuff like that, right? You know all that. So how are you like your history as being where you from and now you see in New York grow? Do you see New York losing its history now? Like is his geographical history and everything like that? Because it's like a big melting pot. Let's talk about that.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot different now than what it was when I was a kid. You know, certain neighborhoods that were predominantly like Italian or predominantly Irish, predominantly Black or Hispanic, those things have all changed and got mixed up. So it's New York is different, man. I think because of the commercialization of the city, and gentrification, it has changed tremendously, man. So we are losing a lot of the history that once was New York City because it's completely different than it was. I'm 43, I'll be 44 in June, and if 20 years ago it didn't look the same. So um, it's rich in history. A lot of like especially like where I live, there's a lot of like history from the American Revolution to the Civil War. We had or wars before that, French and Indian War. A lot of the towns and villages around here were founded in the 1600s and the 1700s. So heavy in history, but it's changed dramatically over the last like 20 years. I was out in LA in like 2014, man, and that's like a different world, man. LA and New York is crazy because they're very similar, but they're so different at the same time. Because it's big city and it's got its pockets where you can't really mess around. But to me, I think LA was just different. I think LA culture is way different than New York culture. Like there's a lot of like invisible lines out there
Right.
that you can't cross. And if you don't know the right people or you wear the wrong hat or the wrong color, you might end up in trouble. So it's not really like that in New York. And I learned that quick out there.
Yeah, Los Angeles, you know what I'm saying? It's very tricky. I tell people like that all the time. We put it on the double screen. It's like that all the time. It's very tricky. People are like, oh, can you take me to California? I said I can, but you got to behave. I said at the end, I don't need you out here. Like, have fun and turn up. Do not don't bring no drama here because I'm going
Yeah.
to be the one to speak the lingo and talk them off the cliff. And at the end of the day, if it don't work, be prepared to hold your own because that's just California with it. But I love it. I love being raised in Long Beach, California. Compton's right there, Los Angeles, Inglewood, Watts, right there. Just like New York, you got all your, it's right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like I know that you see some stuff, and I know that you like that's the type of stuff that raised you, and that's the type of stuff I respect. You come from a big city, being a police officer. There's all types of crimes out there. You even being a detective, you like wow, wow. Look at this. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's going on, and you was able to navigate and do 20 years, and I thank you for that. When is retirement, or how long are you gonna do there?
I can leave in 2027. I'll probably leave 2027. That's
Okay,
what it's looking like.
2020.
Yeah. So next
Okay.
year, I think I'm done.
Okay, you're done. Okay. So what does that look like when you're done?
I got to retire and, find another means of income. I'll get my pension and, I want to make sure that my next endeavor is just something where it doesn't require me to make important decisions on a daily basis. You get a
Right.
little burnt out for being hyper vigilant for 20 years, making, these serious decisions. So I want it to be low stress and, just flexibility. I want to have like a Monday through Friday, weekends, holidays off,
A
you
routine.
know, a routine, man. I don't want to, a lot of guys retire and go to another police job and do another 20. I'm not doing that. But,
Right. You
I
did
want to,
enough
I want
already.
to do something fun.
Right. You did enough. You did enough. And we thank you for your service. And we thank you for how you continue to show up for New York and yourself and your people and your family and everything that you got going on. And I want you to be safe. And this is the motivators table. I want you to understand that I I I look up to what you got going on and I'm inspired and I'm proud of you and don't stop the work. And like I said, a lot of people don't understand where do motivators go get motivated. You come to the motivators table. We're gonna turn up right here. We're gonna understand. We're gonna understand why we do what we're doing. We're gonna make sure we put the right rhetoric out there. We're gonna make sure that they see us as young, black, successful men, and we can hold our own in this field too. And we don't have to talk about all the negativity and all the craziness. We can talk about positive and uplift each other and inspire each other and also share that knowledge with each other so we can put that out there into my community chat. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. We are here to inspire and motivate and get in front of our ugly and tell our dark days, you know? Um,
Absolutely, man.
Tell me, what you got planned that's coming up for like the next future. Like, what's going on this year? Like, what do you think? What do you want to do? And how can I help you succeed in that and point you in the right direction as far as speaking and life coaching and stuff like that to help you?
So right now I'm focusing on my department is gonna start a podcast, and they asked me to narrate the podcast. So the way it works in the city that I work in is it's public safety, so fire and police are underneath one umbrella. So, the commissioner of the department approached me about starting a podcast where we start to shed light on public safety, the different units that we have. We're going to bring in people from different units and interview them, and let the community have a better understanding of what we do on a daily basis. So that's first and foremost. I'm going to be doing some men's group with the business that I said, we're starting that gym, but we have a men's group where we're going to get together and just partake in fellowship, man. So that's going to be first and foremost on the list, is making sure we get these men's groups going, and then, you know, activations, workouts where men come together and, suffer with one another. And I feel like that's going to be something that I'd like to do in retirement, man. But like, we got a few different events that are on the calendar this year. So that's what's going on in 2026.
Love that. 2026 has something special for you. And you're doing what you need to do. And what I'm gonna do is now that we have each other, now that we are intertwined, and thank you, Cal, for that. Whatever speaking, whatever you want to do to show up to some of my events so I can put you in these rooms and so people can hear you, let's do it. That's why I put you on the podcast, because I see where you're going with this. I see that God has a gift for you too. Well, He don't have a gift. Your gift is what you're doing right now. But I see that you have a love for public speaking and life coaching, and I'm gonna help you put you in that arena and whatever I can do. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you, good brother. I appreciate you, man.
yeah.
Calvin raves about you, man, and he put you on my radar, man, and I respect Cal so much. I met him some years ago, man, and we instantly clicked, and we've remained friends throughout the years. And he would always talk about you, man. He's like, "Yo, you got to meet my boy Jr. Man. I'm telling you, I'm very similar. I got the same kind of energy, and I love that dude. So if he loves you, then I know you're a brother of mine. So man, I just want to say thank you.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you so much, and like I said, man, it's a humbling experience just to get online and our energies, our synergies align, you know what I'm saying? And this is what we're supposed to be doing, just giving this message out and being there for one another and hearing these stories and telling people it's okay. Like it's okay. And I tell people all the time, there's two animals that God put on this earth purposely to go through trials and tribulations, storms. It's a cow and a bull. The cow, when this hurricane, they sense it. The cow and the bull sense when the hurricane, when the tornado, when the storm is coming. They sense it. They sense it. As soon as they sense it, the cow runs from the storm. And the bull turns around and runs right back through the eye of the storm and gets on the other side of it. And I always challenge people on my podcast, which one are you? Are you going to continue to run from your generational curse and continue to make that excuse that the storm is following me? Or are you going to break that cycle and run through that eye of that storm? And you're going to be your family's blessing. Because if you can do it, you don't know who you're inspiring to do the same thing. That's why I do what I do. Because my nephew's serving 80 years right now in prison. 16 years
Wow.
16 years old, he went to jail. His name was TK. He was a rapper. My sister's son. And when he was going through all that, and I was going through my trials and tribulations, and I was being the cow, and I was running from it. God was like, "You done running? Go get your sister." So I had to turn back into the middle of the eye of the storm, go get my sister who was struggling mentally, bring her to live with me, to take care of me and be there for me. And now she's the happiest she ever can be. And now she's able to pick up the phone and be there for her son. Yeah, he's locked up, but that was the message right there. So, which one? And I asked my tribe, I asked my community chat, which one are you? Are you the cow? Or are you going to be the bull? Are you going to run, continue to make these excuses and wait for your kids to change it? Or are you going to change it now and pass that down to your kids so they don't have to change it? All I did was try to change it. I'm done being a cow. I'm done running from my problems. I'm facing them. I'm telling that, hey, this is, I have a speech. Get in front of your ugly. This is why we do what we do. And I'm the bull. And I can say, January 25th, 2025, I woke up and I was top 50 motivational speakers in the world because I became the bull. I started to listen. I started to understand. There's no other difference between that cow. They both sense that something is coming, but I just decided to be that bull.
Mm.
So my question to you, Mr. Jason, is I already know who you are. You the bull. Let's continue to inspire and ask each other that. Hey, this is where men, black men, people, everybody in the world, I want you to come sit down at the motivators table and get inspired. I want you to, when you leave the motivators table, I want you to run through that front door and don't look back. And go touch as many people that you can talk and you can touch to. And I tell people all the time, I said, I don't care if it's one listen, I'm still gonna give that $1 million speech because there's one person in that audience gonna tell somebody that's gonna tell somebody that's gonna blow it up. I'm one speech away from being global, the hood motivator. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm booked and busy. And now that I'm able to control my algorithm, my life, and reset and recalibrate, they're in trouble now because now I know who I am. And now I know I can take a time out and say, you know what, pause. Let me reset. Let me shut down my phone. Let me restart it. Let me control my algorithm. And I'm going to get right back in the fight. This is a year of harvest, Jason. Everything you've been putting in seeds is about to bloom, brother. You know that it's coming. So like everything you've been doing in the dark and everything you're doing that you thought that was unnoticed, I see it. People see it, and it's coming. And God said, "Hey, I just had to let it rain for a little bit before the harvest came. And now, it's about to bloom. And now you're going to hand out everything you've been doing, and God is going to bless you. Thank you for 20 years of dedicated service to the law enforcement. I appreciate it. I know the people that love me appreciate it because guess what? You keep the wolves at bay. You know what I'm saying? I want you to leave us with a motivational quote and then your social media handles. Let's go.
Ooh, so and in order to be selfless, you got to be a little selfish. That's something that I live by. So you got to pour into yourself in order to be able to show up for others. That's a quote that I live by. I try to say that to myself every single day to make sure I go out and do what's pertinent to keep myself right so I can be there for everybody else. And my social media is the real Jumpman J. You can find me there, on Instagram and TikTok. That's me in a nutshell, brother.
The real Jumpman J, man. Thank you, man, for coming on my podcast. Thank you for just being a part of something special. And this is why we do what we do, man. You know what I'm saying? This is the motivators table. Thank you to the Los Angeles Tribune for just, believing in me. They didn't have to. And I always give props every episode because I think we have this weird rhetoric that when we make it, we don't have to tell nobody how we made it. No, I'm going to tell you who helped me get here, and I'm gonna maintain how I hit while I'm here because of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for allowing me to grace you on my platform and me giving you your flowers, and you just coming in here just being who you are. And I definitely why I see why Cal see the resemblance. We both have calm spirits. We both have discernment. We both understand. I'm gonna say that as it is. We both see through the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So I know
Big
when
fact.
somebody's bullshitting me, and I know when somebody really want that help. So I don't care how much they scream or yell or what color you wear. Be authentically yourself. And I can say, Jumpman Jay, you are authentic yourself. Thank you again for just gracing my podcast. Anything you want to leave my audience with? Something special?
Nah, man. I think that, just sitting down, having this conversation, you said some things that really hit homes. A lot of things that I needed to hear. I was questioning myself the other day in regards to certain things. And I think a lot of the things that you spoke on tonight just affirmed a feeling that I had inside, man. So I just want to say thank you for sharing your words with me tonight. I can't tell you how your timing is perfect. And some of the things that you said, man. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. You're special. You're amazing. Don't ever forget that. And when you get and you need a break and you need to take a knee and fan out and pull security, you can DM me, you can call me. Let me help you pick up that rear until you get back on your feet mentally, spiritually, because I will tell you this. Don't go out there and give anybody half-ass anything because they're gonna take everything from you. There's so much energy vampires, brother. Like, we have to stop as healers trying to heal everybody. Everybody don't want to be healed. They want to talk about the wound, but they don't want to get healed. And
Hmm.
I'm not gonna go into that. But at the end of the day, let's remain who we are. Let's remain solid. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you, community. Thank you, chat. Thank you, my new followers. Thank you, Jumpman Jay, for just tuning in right now. It was a long day for him. I appreciate you guys. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen. I see you guys my next episode. Stay tuned. The Hood Motivator. Boom. Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, check it out. Motivators, I need you to tap in right now. My Motivators Circle, I am now joining the school app, SKOOL. I need you to join me there. October 15th, I'm launching my courses on my school app. Motivators, I need you to mount up. I need you to log in. If you believe in everything I've been doing, you've been following my journey, I need you to log in and get that school app on your computer, on your cell phones, and I need you to get on ASAP because I'm about to start teaching some courses. I'm about to show you how I got from that to this. I have a course right now called Get in Front of Your Ugly. That right there is going to be coming off the block hot. Get in front of your ugly. Tell your story. Follow me on my school app. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel too. YouTube, The Hood Motivator. JR out.
God has you in this room for a specific reason and a specific timing. And the reason why we're enjoying that is shifting. And we're catching the vision, right? Are we catching the vision? Now I'm about to activate your gift.